Good morning, happy Sunday, and happy Father's Day to all of you that are fathers out there and to all of you that your fathers are still around. I hope you're able to tell them happy Father's Day and spend some time with them. I'm a father. I have a 23-year-old daughter, and I don't know about the rest of you fathers and mothers, but having a kid kind of makes this whole merry-go-round of life make sense to me. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense sometimes. But if you have a kid, that kind of puts it all into perspective. Now you understand why you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. So I enjoy a day like today, not so much so that I can I can be honored by my child at all, but just so that I can remember how important it is to take care of a child and what a significant, awesome responsibility it is to get to raise a child. And it's just an extreme honor. So my message today on Father's Day is to take care of your team. The last couple of days, I asked you to assess what your assets were. We told you on Friday to be realistic, talk about where you really were, and to take a look at those things that you had that were assets for you. And I hope when you did that, you included your team. You included the people that are in your life: spouses, parents, children, friends, mentors, all of those. I hope that you listed that as part of your assets, because they are. They are part of your assets. They're part of what keeps you guided. They're part of what motivates you. You know, they are certainly part of your entire process in this journey that we're all on. And for most people, I think the best motivator is their kids. I mean, people will do a lot more for others than they will for themselves. And children are just a great way to find motivation. If you want to motivate yourself to lose weight, if you want to motivate yourself to get into better shape financially, all of these things, in order to be a role model to your children is a great way to motivate yourself for all of that. So they are definitely part of your team. And obviously your parents are part of your team because they taught you lessons, whether those lessons were intentional on their part and you find them to be positive lessons, or maybe the lessons were unintentional on their part and they appear to be negative lessons, but in a way they're gifts because they showed you how you don't want things to be done and created an opportunity for you to be aware of a way that you wanted to approach life or your children differently than the way your parents did. Either way, they were part of your team and they were part of what got you to where you were. Some people don't have great relationships with their parents for a significant period of time. A lot of times that makes you a much stronger person. And a lot of times also it makes you a very aware parent. So, all of those events are gifts and those people are part of your team. So how do you take care of your team? Well, you set aside time, right? I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, we're going to remember moments. We're not going to remember days. We're not going to remember weeks. We're going to remember moments. We're going to remember specific times that stuck in our minds because they were highly emotional. And we can sit around and wait for those moments to come along, or we can create them. I'm coming up on 10 years since my daughter moved to California. And so I've been a dad from 2,000 miles away for almost half her life now. And one thing about doing that is it made us really appreciate the time that we have together. And it was really a great gift, that distance, because when we did have time together, we made it count. When I would go out there would be a 5-week gap, and then I would stay for 6 nights, and then there would be another 5-week gap, and then I would stay for another 6 nights. For a good portion of when she first went out there, I was still married, still trying to make a marriage work, so I would get one day where it was just her and I, where we had a day. So essentially every 6 weeks, I had one day with my daughter starting at age 13. And so I made the day count. I mean, when we had that day, it was all about her and I. and we built a memory. There's a wonderful guy in my hometown who was a brilliant dentist and golfer named Bill Drabelbus for years. And when he would go around, he would always talk about building a memory. We're going to build a memory today. And I love that phrase because it sets out your intention. You know, we've talked about forever. Start with the end in mind, right? So you want to build a memory. You want to decide that you're going to do something special that's going to create a memory for them. So Katie and I did. We had these traditions that we would do. It would start out that we would do this thing and this thing and this thing. And I've kept a journal for her since she was very young. And we would get little trinkets along the way. So there was a period of time where we would go to this arcade and you could win tokens and get little things, you know. And I would keep those, and those are in the journal. And there were times where we hit softballs or played mini golf, and so I would keep the scorecards from all of that. And there's photos, and there's other things. So like we would go to Pinkberry, and so I kept a receipt from Pinkberry. Just little things, but when we would do those things, we would build a memory. I would have specific things I wanted to talk to her about when we would go on those. So if we were going to go at a hike at Runyon Canyon, I would think about let's talk about something while we were on that, something that would be significant to a father-daughter, something significant about where she is. And we made sure that we stayed in contact. I emailed her every morning forever. Now it's Snapchat, but for years there was a morning email that I would have. And actually I woke up this morning at 4:30 to a morning email from her, now at 23 years old. So what else can you do to take care of your team? So today's Father's Day. So if you're lucky enough to still have your father with you, then you can do something significant to honor them in a way that makes sense in terms of your experience. But do it in a way that it actually creates a memory. Do it in a way that it actually creates a time that they're going to remember down the road. So as you think about the rest of your team, who else do you have? You have siblings, you have a spouse maybe, you have parents if they're still around, you have kids, you have coworkers, you have friends that you've had for a long period of time. So maybe over the rest of today and during this week, you can think about what's something special that you could do for those people just to thank them for what they've brought to your life. Could you set aside a specific time to do something special? Obviously for a spouse, you could do something a lot more special. That would be something where you could, set aside a surprise dinner, set aside a surprise weekend, make something special for them, have a special photograph and have it matted in a certain way with a memory from your first date, whatever. Effort, right? Take the time to acknowledge those people and to thank them for what they've brought to your life. And then a last idea on taking care of your team. Find 3 people in your life that fit into these categories. 1 person in each of these categories. The first is somebody that you used to be in a relationship with, but the relationship ended badly. And it can be a relationship that was business. It can be a relationship that was personal, whatever. But the relationship ended badly. And what I would suggest that you do on this one is not necessarily that you're going to rekindle that relationship, but reach out to them in some fashion. It can be a phone call. It can be an email. It can be some sort of message on social media. But reach out to them and first of all, acknowledge the relationship. Say whatever it was. Let's say it was a business relationship. We had this really great business relationship for a period of time. And I know that it ended in a way that wasn't the best way. But assuming this is true, acknowledge for them the positive things that came out of that relationship. Because of that relationship, I learned X, Y, and Z, and I got these positive things from you. And I just wanted to reach out and say thank you for that period of time in my life. And I'm sorry that the relationship ended that the way that it did, but I wanted to reach out and point out the positive things that happened in that relationship, and thank you for that. Send it off. Don't expect a response, but this is a way for you to finally close that part of your life. If there's something that you've been thinking about, a lot of times with those relationships, they always kind of come up in our head and we think about them. And this is a way to close that chapter and send it off, and also to tell them, there was positive parts to this relationship and I really benefited because of that. Second person is somebody that you had a great relationship with and it didn't end badly. You guys just drifted apart. Maybe it was somebody in college or maybe it was whatever, and you just went your separate ways and life happened, especially if, you're around my age. When the kids come along, it's harder to find time, and then all of a sudden you get my age and now you got a lot more time. Find that person and reach out to them. And this one I'd suggest definitely be a phone call. But reach out to them and say, good morning, how are you? I just wanted to say, the period of time that you were in my life was a wonderful period of time. I love the relationship for whatever reason, or here's why, or here's the great things I got out of that relationship. I just wanted to say hi. I hope you're great. Da 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 da. Send it off. And what'll happen most of the time is that person's going to respond back. And so you're going to take one relationship that didn't end well. You're going to get the positive out of it, and then you're going to send it off. And then you're going to grab another relationship that was really great, and you're going to bring it back and put it in front of you. Because 9 times out of 10, with that second communication, that person is going to come back into your life. That's why I suggest that one by phone if you can. Because when you go to get done with that call, they're going to go, whoa, wait, tell me about what's going on. And you just may bring this person back into your life, and you might add to your team. Then the last one is somebody that's in your life now is super positive, and do something for them. Send them flowers, write them a card, something. Take them out to dinner, get them a little something, and just take the time to acknowledge to them how important they are to you and what difference they make. Ferris Bueller said, life goes by pretty fast. Every now and then you got to stop and take a look around. It does. It does go by fast. And you need to take the time to acknowledge the people that were important in your life and to bring those people that you really, really adored back into your life and communicate with them while you have the chance. Because sometimes that chance slips away and you don't want to live with any regrets. Remember, 2 types of pains: pain of discipline, pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Have a happy Father's Day, everybody. Let's take care of everybody out there, and let's set aside time this week to take care of our team. Have a great day.